Good afternoon, fellow survivors. It's been a tough year, but we've made it this far. I know we've been keeping an eye on the shortages, and it's been hard to see the list grow longer. But we have to keep going, keep pushing forward. This year, the shortages have hit harder than ever before. It's not just food, it's everything. Supplies are tight, and we have to be careful with what we have. We've seen prices skyrocket for commodities like wheat, and it's not getting any better. It's hard not to feel discouraged, to wonder if we'll ever have enough to sustain ourselves. But we have to stay strong, stay resilient. We've been through so much already, and we can't give up now. I know it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but we have to remember that we're in this together. We can support each other, share what we have, and make it through. It won't be easy, but we can do it. We have to believe in ourselves and each other. The news hit me hard. It was devastating to hear that California's drought was having a major impact on lettuce and tomato crops. As a food lover, it's heart-wrenching to think that the produce we all love so much might be in danger. I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness and frustration. I remember reading about how the fresh fruit and vegetable producer was struggling with crop failures in key commodities. Almost 30 to 40% of all iceberg and romaine lettuce had failed due to extreme heat that hit in the beginning or late summer. It was hard to fathom the scale of the problem. The thought of all those wilted, unsold crops left me feeling hopeless. But then something caught my attention. The article offered a contingency plan, Grow Lettuce at Home. I was surprised to learn how easy it was to grow lettuce, even indoors. And to top it off, it's a winter-hardy crop, so it's the perfect time to start planting. This idea gave me a glimmer of hope. Maybe there's something we can do to help mitigate the impact of California's drought on our beloved produce. Maybe if more of us started growing our own lettuce, we could make a small difference. But then, just as my spirits were lifted, the news hit me again. Eggs were also under strain due to the avian flu. It seemed like every time I looked for a silver lining, there was another dark cloud waiting to rain on my parade. As I sat there, processing the information, I realized that this is the reality we're living in. The world is constantly changing, and sometimes it feels like it's changing for the worse. But that doesn't mean we should give up hope. We can always find ways to adapt and make a difference, no matter how small. The devastation caused by the avian flu has left me heartbroken. The once vibrant flocks now lay barren and desolate. It's not just the loss of innocent lives, but the prices have skyrocketed in some regions. The news of people culling birds due to the virus is distressing. I can't fathom the pain and suffering these animals are going through. In the midst of this chaos, I stumbled upon an interesting fact. Cal-Maine Foods, a company that boasts of being the largest producer and distributor of fresh shell eggs in the U.S., has seen a staggering 110% increase in net sales. I can only imagine the record profits they must be making. However, this news is bittersweet. The soaring prices of lithium, which is a crucial component in electric vehicles, has hit me hard. Even if you don't own an electric car, the cost of lithium has increased tenfold in the past 2 years. The demand for lithium is high, and the supply is scarce, leading to a surge in prices. As someone who cares deeply about the environment and reducing my carbon footprint, the rising prices of electric car components is a blow. I feel torn between my desire to do better for the planet and my financial limitations. It's frustrating to see the costs go up and the options narrow. It's been a year since the pandemic hit, but it feels like it's been a lifetime. The world is still grappling with what they call a triplandemic, and it's hitting us hard. There are spikes in various respiratory illnesses, and it seems like there's no end in sight. I walk into stores like CVS and Walgreens, and the shelves are empty, leaving me with a feeling of emptiness and despair. Even the basic necessities like acetaminophen and ibuprofen are hard to come by. It's like we're living in a dystopian world where getting a common painkiller is a luxury. But what's worse is the case of amoxicillin. The capacity to produce it is difficult and expensive to ramp up due to a lack of flexibility in the equipment and processes to make it. It's a drug that's essential for treating various bacterial infections, and the shortage is causing widespread panic. But the shortage that hits closest to home for me is the one for Adderall. I know it's not a life-saving drug, but for someone with ADHD, it's their lifeline. It helps them focus, be productive, and live a normal life. But it's in short supply, and people like me are left wondering if we'll ever get our hands on it again. It's a feeling of hopelessness that's hard to shake off. We've all felt the impact of the semiconductor microchip shortage. It's like a dark cloud looming over us, threatening to disrupt the way we live our lives. And while some articles may suggest that this shortage will be resolved by the end of the year, I have my doubts. It's not just about the shortage itself, it's about the ripple effects it has on the world around us. The things we once took for granted, like our trusty electronics, are now in short supply. It's like we're living in a dystopian world where technology is a scarce commodity. But it's not just semiconductors that we need to worry about. There are 3 other shortages that we must also take into consideration. It's time to think ahead and prepare for a future where these items may not be readily available. And maybe it's time to go back to basics. Instead of relying on others to provide us with the things we need, let's take matters into our own hands. Let's grow our own food, let's learn to be self-sufficient. It may be tough at first, but it's always better to have a backup plan. So let's stock up while we can, let's be prepared for whatever the future may hold. And most importantly, let's not forget the power of community. Let's come together and support each other during these uncertain times.